Hello and welcome back to my first video in a couple of months, and the topic of today's video kind of relates to why I've not uploaded in so long, and that is inspiration when it comes to photography, which is something I've been struggling with quite recently. So I felt this was a good time to do this video. Hopefully it will help me to find some inspiration myself, and hopefully also help you guys to find some inspiration to go out and do some photography as well. So in this video, I want to talk about the places I find inspiration as a photographer. And less these days, that seems to be the places that it used to be, such as Instagram, YouTube, where I would see other people's work and find inspiration in it. And there are various reasons for that. And I don't want to start off the video too negatively, so I will talk about that a little bit later. But first, I'm going to talk about where I do find influence and inspiration for my photography. So to start with, one of the main places I find inspiration is through films, which has quite a heavy inspiration on my editing style. Now this does start when I'm actually out shooting, and with my background originally being more video focused, I find myself heavily inspired by cinematography that I see in movies, and I try to replicate some of this in the way I frame my shots, especially with my street photography, where I tend to go for quite a cinematic look in the photos I take. This does then translate into my editing style, where I do try to stick to quite a cinematic look, taking quite a lot of heavy influence from Asian cinema and also films like Blade Runner that have a very distinctive look to the colour grading. I also find that watching films can help me come up with ideas for videos or for photography shoots. As an example, a few months back I watched a horror film called Mandy, which has a very distinctive look in some of the shots where everything's very red and very grainy. So I decided to create that within my X-T5 as a custom setting, and I went out and did a few test shots. I'll stick them on screen now, but the idea is to kind of do a full video focusing on that, and that'll probably be one of my videos that'll come out around Halloween this year. Last year I uploaded a video talking about photo modes in video games, and the reason I did that is because the reason I actually started doing photography was because of a video game. So for those that haven't watched that video, in 2020 I was playing a game called Ghost of Tsushima, and I was playing around with a photo mode in it, and I just kind of got inspired to actually buy a real camera, and that was pretty much how I got my start in photography. So although I don't think that these photo modes in video games are a replacement for photography, they are a good practicing and learning tool, especially when it comes to things such as framing. And if you haven't already, please do go and check out that video. So I do find photography books a great way to find inspiration for my photography, and there's just something so much better about holding a physical book and looking through it than scrolling through Instagram and looking through photography that way. So on my last couple of trips to London, I've actually picked up a photography book each time and kind of used that as inspiration. And my first time was last September when I picked up London After Dark by Mr. Whisper, and then when I was in London in April, I picked up a Soul Lighter book, and I was very much using these books as inspiration on those trips for my photography. So I did find that when I was on these trips, it did really help having kind of one main source of inspiration and a style that I was kind of trying to work towards through buying these photo books. And so I think something I'm going to try and do going forward is whenever I go on a trip like this, I'm going to try and pick up a book and use that as my inspiration. You will probably also find that as soon as your friends and family are aware that you're into photography, you will end up receiving quite a lot of photography books as gifts, which is not a bad thing. It will certainly help build your collection, and it's better than getting socks. And just on a final note, I do think that photography books are just a really nice way to present your work as a photographer, and I do aspire one day to hopefully publish a photography book myself. So music is a big part of my life in general, which you probably noticed if you recognise some of the obscure band t-shirts I've worn in my videos over the years, but it also applies to my photography in a couple of ways. So one of the ways I use music to help inspire me when it comes to photography... No, it's not food. When it's not food. So one of the ways I use music as a form of inspiration is with my more cinematic photography videos. I'll kind of come up with a general feel to the video. So if I want it to be moody, for example, I know that I'm going to need quite moody music. And this kind of directly relates to the photos that I take for that video and the way that I edit those photos. So as an example, my Manchester Gloom video that I made, it was very dark and moody, and I used very dramatic ambient music to match this. And kind of picking the music out first really helped me influence the style that that video was going to take, and therefore the way that I would edit the photos that would go in that video. And then secondly, music can also really help me focus when it comes to photography, especially if I'm in a sort of street photography setting, if I'm in a busy city, and it's very loud, which can usually be a little bit distracting, and it just helps me to concentrate a little bit more if I've got some music on. It just helps me to focus. So finally, new locations, and this is the one that relates most to my lack of inspiration over the last couple of months. Generally, I'm at my most inspired when I'm in a new city and I can just explore and just keep shooting, but I've not really had that recently just because I've been trying to save money. I'm currently in the process of buying a house, so I'm on a bit of a ban from going on holidays or trips. As soon as that is done with, then I'll be getting back to that, but because of that, I've been kind of mostly confined to Manchester, which, having lived here for so long now, just doesn't inspire me as much as a city anymore. I have been away to London a couple of times over the last year, and I have found that that's when my recent work has been at its best, because I'm in a new city, in a new location, where I can just keep exploring, keep finding new things, and it's still all very exciting. So as I mentioned at the start, the places that I used to find a lot of inspiration from, such as Instagram or YouTube, are not really the places that I find inspiration from anymore. With Instagram, it's mainly down to the increased focus on Reels. I have just no interest in short form content. I think it's absolute nonsense, to be brutally honest. I've tried making it, I just don't enjoy it, and it's, for some reason, there's just some key to getting views that I don't understand. So it's not for me. That and just reach in general. I have over 1,500 followers, but most of my posts now seem to only be getting to maybe 100 people at best. So yeah, Instagram, not the best place for photographers anymore. And then secondly, with YouTube, I'm just not watching as many photography related videos as I used to, for a couple of reasons. There's just so much rage bait, clickbait titles out there now that you just don't know what you're getting, and I don't want to give people who are making videos with those titles the time of day, really. And then secondly, a lot of people that I previously enjoyed watching, their videos will just be about promoting products that they just clearly don't actually believe in. They're just taking a payday, which is fair enough, but it's not for me. So yeah, that's why I don't really watch quite as much YouTube anymore. Don't get me wrong, there are still plenty of amazing channels out there making great stuff, but just the overall state of photography on YouTube in general, I just find to be a little bit demotivating and not really something I'm finding as much inspiration in as I used to. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, and go and check out some of my other work. Also, go and give me a follow over on Instagram, where I post all my photos. And if you did have any more thoughts on what inspires you as a photographer, or any of the things that I've mentioned in this video, please do make sure to comment down below. Again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.